So what's the plan? Princess Gloria's being held hostage, right?
Indeed she is, fair maiden. 'Twill be necessary for me to enter alone and begin negotiations, lest the brigands suspect foul play. However, at a suitable juncture, I shall create a distraction, allowing your merry band to swoop in and rescue Her Highness.
A distraction, eh? And how do you plan to do that?
With this. 'Tis a sorcerer's stone that upon firm impact emits a most dazzling light. I shall cry out, "By the light of the sun, and by these words shalt thou know to enter." The princess knoweth well this phrase. 'Tis one we have long since settled upon, and by it shall know to close our eyes full tight.
Nice. So we just wait for the signal, then it's go time, right?
Precisely. I shall be counting on you.
To fight or to flee, there are a couple of ways of finding out if a monster you're facing can be easily dealt with. Look for a red glow around your opponent before battle. Note whether you can earn an underdog bonus after battle. Both of these mean that you're a little underpowered to be facing that opponent and might be better off avoiding them in the future or leveling up before facing them again. That's a cool touch, I like that. Note if your opponent tries to run away before battle. Wait, note if your opponent tries to run away before battle. In this case, you're overpowered and should probably move on to more challenging pastures. So I guess we're in our first dungeon here. But yeah, Morris, when it comes to the frame rate in that trailer that reminded you of Xbox 360 Blighttown from the original Dark Souls. Now people shit on Dark Souls Remastered for being a bad remaster due to it changing very little, but at least they fixed the Blighttown FPS issue. Yeah, the freaking FPS of the Pokemon Legends trailer from earlier today. I'm usually not a huge stickler for graphics and FPS, but if you can't at least pull off like a stable 30 FPS and the game is freaking hiccuping just by like standard normal gameplay, then you've done something wrong. Is a thing. Hold on, let's see our party chat real quick. Praise for the princess. Thou seems somewhat anxious, lad. 'Twere better that thou wert calm. I can't speak like this. Vexation doth dull the sword arm, after all. I know. Fret not unduly on Princess Gloria's account. He is so unnecessarily, like, over-the-top formal. Old-timey formal. The Highness is a good deal hardier than she might at first seem. 'Twas thus why I remember when she was but 5 years old. Zephyr, a fine steed for whom the princess had developed a surpassing fondness, lay ready to breathe her I am so sorry. She was a wondrous creature, as gentle as the breeze for which she was named. And she died in just the manner she had lived, in a bathtub, simply closed her eyes and made as if to sleep. What person lives by closing their eyes? She died in just the manner she had lived. Simply closed her eyes and made as if to sleep. Yeah, that's how I live my life on a daily basis too. Cool. The princess, who had attended to every moment of her dear friend's passing, spake such fine words when the moment came at last. Enjoy your rest, Zephyr. Do not worry about us. We will miss you, but we will always treasure your memory. For once so young to put her companion's feelings before her own in such a manner. Wow, and she was really just 5? Why are you telling me this story? Indeed she was! At first I thought perhaps she knew not what it was to die. But no, soon enough she set about weeping. She knew right enough. Knew all too well. It was at that moment I saw for the first time just what a kind heart she possessed. One so precious must be kept from harm at all costs. Don't worry, we'll get her out of there, you'll see. We will indeed, lad, by the sacred oath I made as her servant and protector. I'm sorry, I have too much fun doing voices and stuff. But yeah, Admiral, what if you could break the game like Breath of the Wild? Okay, the thing about Breath of the Wild is it is a game that barely works. But it only barely works when it is in the hands of somebody who knows how to make the game barely function, is a thing. Like, you're probably not gonna encounter a massive ton of glitches in Breath of the Wild in like standard kind of casual gameplay. But in the hands of somebody who, you know. Whoa, my goodness, that is a lot of enemies. What the heck? Nice. But in the hands of somebody who has a more intimate understanding of the game systems as I developed over the course of last year. Yeah, you can get that game to crash in multiple ways. You can get the frame rate to die in a few ways. You can break the game in multiple ways using only a shield and a bow in many instances. And you can even do things like use a series of bows to freaking duplicate any item that you want and transfer any durability value. With Breath of the Wild is such a broken game that you only need a freaking handful of bows to give the Hylian shields durability to like anything, including a Pocket. It's hilarious. I love it. Like, I have a feeling that if Pokemon Legends is gonna be broken, it's gonna be broken in like an unfunny, just kind of meh way where it's like, wow, that sucks. Breath of the Wild is broken in a way where it's like, wow, I can freaking destroy this game. It's great. I'm having so much fun.
That was a piece of cake.
It's a fun way of breaking it, if that makes sense. But yeah, Morris is like Frederick Gunter and Jacob emerge into a single character. What for that one dude? It sounds like a Bethesda game. What, Breath of the Wild? Let's just say I've done some serious things for breaking that. But I mean, Bethesda games also have a lot of glitches that like can be funny, but they happen like all the time in like normal gameplay.
There's no way we're losing this
Is a
one.
thing. Like in Breath of the Wild, you very rarely have like glitches happen in normal gameplay unless you're like specifically trying to break the game engine, as I was during my playthrough of it last year. And I mean, sometimes you'll discover other random glitches while you're performing other glitches. Like the amount of craziness that I found in the void when I was creeping through walls in that game was certainly something. I figured out how to make Calamity Ganon invisible. That was pretty fun. I figured out a lot of things in that game. But yeah, so I am worried about that game. Like, I hope it'll be good. We'll see. Also, thinking about like the Elder Scroll. Oh, I just realized that attack thing goes slightly over the. I'm gonna move chat up a little bit for that reason. But yeah, I did do one session of Skyrim once, which was actually requested by Anima during one of my charity streams. It was during a charity stream where. Okay, we got lucky there. It was during a charity stream where people could request like what game I played from like games I had from a list and such, and Anima chose Skyrim. Wow, this goes long down here. So I technically have a whole one session of Skyrim on my channel, and that's it. But it's one of those games that I might do on the channel one day. I've never actually like played all the way through Skyrim before. I have probably like 10 to 15 hours in that game, like from before I was a streamer. And that's like all the experience I have with it, so I don't know a whole lot about it. I guess we'll go towards the objective marker, I suppose. So, like, I don't have a lot of experience with it, and it could be something interesting to, like, stream blind and freaking see the mayhem that ensues. And actually, a lot less bugs are there, but if you look, you can break the hell out of it. Gotcha. Yeah, there's not a whole lot of bugs on the surface of Breath of the Wild, but if you know where to look, you can freaking break it in half. You clipped the part where I messed up, what, by freaking, in my words, Anima? Is that what you mean? Don't tell me, what do I have, Dread? Like, what is my status effect that I have right now? I'm so confused. But yeah, anyway, with my story from earlier, I was talking about this week and like this day. So I woke up at 4 a.m. this morning, had a freaking 2-hour sleep before the Pokemon Direct. And then after the Pokemon Direct, I tried to go back to sleep for a couple hours. I had my alarm set for a couple hours from there. And I tried to fall asleep for like the following half an hour, but I just could not fall asleep for the life of me. So eventually I just got out of bed. I probably do have to go all the way around, don't I? Dang it. Gotcha. Yeah, I tried to go back to sleep. I couldn't go back to sleep. And so I got out of bed and I was like, okay, let's check what freaking EB Games' hours is. And I checked it. And I thought it said 10 a.m. So like I got ready for the day. I got changed, brushed my teeth, yada yada. And well, the game lagged for a hot second there. I was like, okay, let's go to EB Games. So I went to EB Games. Turns out when I read online, I freaking read the store hours for a different EB Games location, and the one that I went to actually opened at freaking 11 a.m. So anybody who was like chatting with me in Discord this morning may know that I freaking just sat waiting in front of EB Games for like 45 minutes after I got there early. So, you know, there's a that. So I was just like chatting on Discord and like, you know, going on Twitter and freaking posting my own opinions on the Direct, and there was people that I followed that were like, oh, what are your opinions on the Direct and stuff like that, and I was putting replies to it. I'm apparently overpowered for you. And something really interesting, I had this one I had a couple passages of me basically explaining the same thing that I explained earlier this stream of the Diamond and Pearl remakes seeming to just be like remakes of Diamond and Pearl, not be like a new unique entry into the series like freaking Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire was, like Heart Gold Soul Silver was. It just seems to be purely a remake, and honestly feels more like a freaking spin-off kind of main series title, similar to Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, rather than the like natural successor or next title after Sword and Shield, like Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire felt for X and Y, for example. But I had like a passage explaining that on the post of somebody that I followed asking what people's opinions were, and this one person responded with like a few passages of their own, just being like, oh, you're freaking so dead wrong. Like Dynamaxing was like the freaking worst system ever. It's better that it's gone. It's better that it's like this. Who wants the freaking mechanics of Sword and Shield in that? Because they're all freaking garbage and nobody liked them anyway. And I responded to it with like, you're making a lot of points, but you're not actually backing any of them up with any arguments. Like, these are all opinions and stuff. You haven't actually made any arguments about them. You're just making blank statements, essentially. They blocked me. Earlier today, I got blocked on Twitter by somebody I've literally never heard of before because they got salty and replied to my freaking take on the Diamond and Pearl remakes from what we've seen so far, and then got salty at me replying to them saying like, you're making a lot of statements, but you're not actually making arguments about these statements. They just blocked me. I don't know why. I don't know what kind of person you have to be to freaking, you know, seek out that kind of encounter and then block somebody when they call you out on not backing up your arguments. I guess there's a chest over there. So that was certainly interesting, to say the least. I don't know if I've ever been blocked on Twitter by somebody before. Should I be honored? Like, it might be my first time. Like, I don't know what to think about it though.
Still no sign of him. Where is the useless old fart?
Calm yourself, Dag. Becoming flustered at a time like this will only benefit our enemies. He almost got the better of you, it is true. But you will prevail in the end. You always do.
Yeah, I guess you're right. And when I do, we'll have the wind crystal. And that little beauty's gonna make the both of us filthy, stinking rich!
You do not care that your actions might bring about untold calamity.
Pull the other one. That calamity stuff's just a load of bulldust some drongo made up so they could keep the crystals for themselves.
I can assure you that it is no such thing. You have seen the state of the oceans for yourself. Does that not concern you at all?
Pah! It couldn't concern me less, you Madge. It'll take more than a couple of waves to put me off making the big bucks.
Oh, how can you possibly be so short-sighted?
Dungeon portals! When you're in dungeon, you'll occasionally come across a bright blue circle on the ground. These are special spatial portals that can whisk your party to and from the dungeon entrance in an instant. This can be really useful if you need to pop out onto the field and rest up in a tent. So you can do it on the field. But wait, I didn't see the option there in the field before. How do I use the tent in the field? Or travel back to town to upgrade your equipment. Use them as staging posts to help you progress safely through dangerous dungeons. Next time I'm in the field, I might just have to like Google it and stuff. Maybe. The Australian Jank Master returns, yes. There he is. He's probably going to be the boss at the end of this. Maybe we'll fight them both and get both their asterisks. Maybe it'll be like White Mage and Knight or something. I don't know. Something like that. Anyway, as for like my story of today, so when I realized I had to like wait in front of EB Games for a while, this was in a mall. Like, it wasn't outdoors, thank goodness, considering how freaking cold it is here in the land of Canada right now. Though it has been warming up lately, which is nice. I went and sat down on a bench and such nearby, and haha, look at our flamey grabby hands that are going to grab you or something. What the heck? I don't know what to think about these freaky enemies here. So I basically went and just waited for it to open for a little while I was on my phone on like Twitter and Discord and such. And as time went by, I looked over about 15 minutes before it opened. I noticed that there was like a line of like 6 or something people, maybe 7, in front of EB Games, and I was like, oh crap. Like, I was literally the first person there. like, I had checked the store hours on the notice in front, and there was nobody there when I got there. I was literally the first person to arrive. And yet, because I went and sat on the bench and wasn't paying attention, there was like 7 people who got in ahead of me there. Are you a monster? Apparently you are. You're like a weird gargoyle looking thing. Are you a gargoyle?
We've got the upper hand, guys.
Here.
Yeah.
Okay, what's the
They probably are, aren't they? Bronze goyle. Cool. They're like a gargoyle of bronze. So I was like, okay, well, I better go at least stand in the back of the line now. And so I went and stood in the back of the line, had to wait a while to get in because they have like with COVID, they have like the 4-person max capacity within the store at any time kind of thing. But luckily it didn't take too long. It wasn't like the release day of the Switch, which I was in front of that same EB Games for and freaky stood in that line for 8 hours to get to my Switch day 1. It was nothing like that. It was only like 15-20 minutes, something like that. Still a little irksome too. I've lost that time that I could have saved if I just stood there in the beginning. But when I got in there and I asked for a copy of Bravely Default 2, which I had not pre-ordered because for some reason EB here doesn't let you pre-order online and reserve in store. Like, it's just unavailable in my area for whatever reason, and I don't know why. And I'm not gonna go there in person to pre-order just to go in and like pick it up day 1 anyway. Like I haven't seen somebody be freaking out of stock of a certain game day 1 in a long time, so I figured there's no need to like pre-order and get that freaking assurance of for sure getting a title. So I go in there and I ask for a copy of Bravely Default 2, and the person behind the counter tells me like, okay, I need to like go check our stock of it and see like where it is and stuff like that. And I was confused. I was like, wait, there's like 6 or 7 people in front of me. Was nobody else in here today here to pick up like Bravely Default 2? And the person behind the counter was like, well, we just opened up. And I was like, yeah, I know, but there was like 6 or 7 people in front of me, and this is the release date for like a big JRPG. You're telling me that like not a single person who was in ahead of me was here for like that reason? And I was very surprised about that. So freaking literally the moment EB Games opened up, there was like 6 or 7 people ahead of me that were there to do anything that wasn't picking up Bravely Default 2 on its release date, I guess. Which isn't unheard of, but I was surprised that there was that many people to freaking be there right when EB Games opened for, you know, just general stuff, I guess. So I was literally the first person at the store to buy Bravely Default 2, which was surprising. So that was interesting to say the least. So I picked up my game and got back into my car, and nearby this mall where EB Games is my grandparents' place. So I was like, okay, it just literally freshly snowed this morning, so I should go over to my grandparents' place and I should like shovel their walks for them and such. And thank you.
Okay, what's the plan?
I guess, yeah, we're being constantly healed by our companion dude, probably because this is meant to be a kind of tutorial dungeon. So I went over there to visit them. I hadn't actually eaten anything yet today, so of course is what happens when you go over to visit your grandparents' place, is you get well fed. And right as I arrived, there just happened to be a freaking apple cake that was being pulled out of the oven, like literally right as I arrived, and it was freaking delicious, let me tell you. It was freaking great. And then I went to shovel the walks, and while I was shoveling the driveway in the back that led into the back alley, there was a neighbor across the street who I had never actually met before. And like, we said hi to one another. She had asked like, oh, are you like their grandson helping out with shoveling the walks? And I was like, oh yeah, that is indeed the case. Of course we thought what I said. And I was like, yeah, I don't remember exactly what I said, but I freaking confirmed it, essentially. And she was like, oh, good on you, and such. And yeah, it was freaking yummy. I was given some to take home. It's freaking upstairs right now. I'll probably have some later tonight. It's delicious. But after I was done with like the driveway into the back alley there, and hello as well, Eagle. Yeah, it was freaking delish, let me tell you. Oh, I got a tent, so they're like consumable things. Interesting. When I was done with the driveway in the back, I noticed that she was still working on her back driveway. So I came over and I was like, oh, while I'm here anyway, like I can help you finish off your back driveway since I'm freaking out here anyway. And she was like, oh no, that's kind of you, but it's almost like wrapped up anyway. I appreciate that as well. And hello Hawks, how are you doing today? And we actually got to talking for a little while. This one lady, this Russian lady, she seemed like really nice, honestly. And so we were talking a little bit about, you know, my relationship with my grandparents there, because she knew them but like didn't really know much of the family. So we were talking about that. She was asking like what I was studying and stuff like that. I was like, oh, like computing science, I'm studying game design and such. And she was like, oh, your parents and grandparents must be like so proud of you. That's so great to hear. And I was like, oh well. And as we were talking there, the neighborhood that this was in is a neighborhood that does have like a lot of elderly people, and she was saying like because of that it's very difficult to get like help when it's needed for like shoveling snow. So she was like, oh well, if you're freaking helping your grandparents, like if you're coming over here to help your grandparents anyway, then maybe when next winter rolls around, if you're willing to come over and help with mine, I'd be willing to pay you in cash for helping with that, because it's rare to find help around here. So we wound up talking about this, and we wound up exchanging numbers and such. She seemed like this really nice, pleasant lady. And now it's possible that from this random encounter earlier today, I might potentially be in an arrangement for next year to potentially help out with while I'm going over to my grandparents' place to shovel walks, potentially helping out with another set of walks, and maybe that might be a situation that I may be in. I want to put on that longsword, that's why I did the thingamabob. So I guess tents are like consumable kind of things then. And yeah, when I came back into the house, I was mentioning that to my grandparents, and they were like, oh yeah, that's her. She's always like super nice and freaking loves interacting with people and never lets any favor go unanswered and yada yada. Let's go ahead and put on the longsword, I guess? Sure, let's go ahead and do that. Should I double up? I have another dagger. When did that happen? Can I... Wait. Sure. Wait, can you not? Wait, why can you not? Well, I'm freaking losing my mind. It's because they both have the... Okay, yeah, it's because they both have the dagger there already. And then from there, after a little while, I came home. I went into my labs for the day where we did like playtesting of other people's games and stuff like that. And then I got some food, and then I started this stream. And that's been my day, and that's been my week that I've been now rambling about for probably close to 40 minutes. That's my story. That's my story of this week and this day. And didn't I fight you earlier? I guess maybe respawned. But yeah, Hawk's doing okay, some chest pains, but other than that, you're good. How about me? Doing pretty alrighty. I'm sorry that I just kind of got finished explaining my story of the week as you're arriving. So like the full answer was over the course of that time. But yeah, I do hope that you do get to feeling better though, Hawks. That's always unpleasant to deal with and stuff. But yeah, it's also rare in America to die in 2016. What, for like people helping out with like shoveling and stuff? I only see kids asking for money to shovel your lawn, but not anymore. I mean, I had the neighbors who lived next to us before our current neighbors. Like, our current neighbors are the ones that I've told stories on stream before about how I'd give like driving practice to one of them because they had a standard and I had an automatic, and the driving tests are apparently way more strict for a standard, so I wound up giving driving practice here and there for the course of close to half a year. So before those neighbors, the neighbors who lived there before, were honestly super chill. It's a shame that we only got to know them better, like in the last kind of set of months of them staying there. But they were super chill, and as we got to talking to them more and getting to know them, the husband, he had told me a couple times like, oh, well, if you're willing to like mow my lawn here while you're out, you know, mowing your guys' own place, I'm willing to pay you for that, because honestly I'm too lazy to do it myself, so if you want to do it, I'll pay you for it. I was like, okay, sure. So there was that. But they eventually had to move out because like the landlord was basically being a jerk and stuff, and conditions weren't the best and stuff like that. But yeah. And Morris did all that and still put up with your questions and whining what for like this weekend today. I was freaking going back and forth between like some game testing stuff and Discord stuff and getting ready for the stream and such. And what a day it's been. Save points. This is a save point. As the name suggests, it allows you to save your progress while exploring a dungeon. You can also use a tent here to rest and heal up, and you'd be well advised to do so. Save points are often strategically placed before big battles. So that's the same as in like Bravely Default then. And Bravely Second. If things get hairy in a dungeon and there isn't a save point or a portal close at hand, you can use the teleport stone to effect an instantaneous escape. So yeah, it might be beneficial to stock up a tents and stuff. I'll just go ahead and take you out and then maybe heal up and such, just to make sure I'm at, like, unless he... maybe I don't need to heal up at all. Maybe I can literally save my tents now that Mr. Judo did that. I've forgotten his name already. The dude who's freaking Gunter and Jacob and all the freaking retainer characters from Fire Emblem Fates all in one. My oh my. Okay, that's strange how you have to go into it and then actually go into the menu and save. So you have 9 slots? Interesting. And this is the first time I've saved this playthrough an hour and a half in? Okay. Alright, so this is gonna be the first tutorial boss battle. I think literally every single battle in this entire hour and a half so far, I've just freaking spammed Brave like an idiot. I'm gonna have to like actually strategize now.